here. My name is Scott Gallardi. I'm the Executive Director for Ruth and Naomi's. And we're here this morning for some exciting announcements about two new projects that are going to increase the housing and shelter options for people experiencing homelessness in our city. Shelters and housing are incredibly important, and they're all situated on a piece of land, which is also incredibly important. So I want to start this morning with a land acknowledgement. We recognize that our work in CHWK and these new projects will take place on the unceded traditional territories of the Stalo Nation. These lands have been stewarded and inhabited by Indigenous peoples for thousands of years, and we honor their deep connection to this place. People experiencing or at risk of homelessness in CHWK will soon have 73 temporary housing units through the province's Homeless Encampment Action Response Temporary Housing Program. I want to invite Minister Dan Coulter to come now.
Thank you very much, Scott. And I'd also like to acknowledge that we're gathered here today on the territory of the Stalo people, and in particular that of the CHWK and Pula tribes. So good morning, everyone. It's great to connect with you all today. We're gathered today to share some actions the provincial government is taking to address an ongoing challenge in our community. Recognize that there's an urgent need to offer safe, indoor shelter to people who are unhoused and are living in encampments in the city of CHWK. The lack of safe and appropriate housing is pushing people into homelessness, to shelter outdoors, and to live in unsafe encampments. Communities here and across the province are facing similar challenges. It's concerning. It's not safe for anyone, not for the neighbors, not for the surrounding community, and most of all, not for the people experiencing homelessness themselves. That's why I am pleased to share that we are implementing the Homeless Encampment Action Response Temporary Housing, or HERT, program in the city. Through the HERT program, we are rapidly responding to the urgent housing needs of the most vulnerable in the community. Our objective is to create new temporary housing options within just a few months to support people to transition indoors. Part of this is the quick development of the new 30-bed shelter in the CHWK Wellness Center that will be operational in the coming weeks, and the 43-unit modular housing that will soon be underway on this site where we're standing. Together, these 73 temporary units will provide an interim housing solution for people who have been staying long-term in shelters, freeing up shelter spaces for people who are living outdoors. In addition of these housing supports, we complement current efforts to ensure that people have a warm, safe place to stay. And all this work would not be possible without the support of the nonprofit operators, Without Housing, and Health Society, and we all share a commitment to work together on solutions to the challenges people who are facing homelessness are experiencing here in the city. I look forward to seeing the impacts of these units in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Coulter. I want to invite MLA Kelly Patton from CHWK to come now.
Thank you so much, Scott. Aswale Maklat, Kelly Patton, Chelsea, CHWK. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. To reiterate what Dan has just shared, a total of 73 more temporary units will soon be available to people across our community. That means 73 more people will be able to move to more secure spaces and can access services and supports that they need to stabilize their lives. Increasing shelter options available to people currently sheltering outdoors in our community. Through the HERT program, we are quickly deploying these units to ensure that people experiencing homelessness are supported, while the province, through BC Housing and community partners, work to bring other temporary and permanent supportive housing to CHWK. The HERT program is part of Belonging in BC, the province's plan to address homelessness. Through this plan, we're investing up to $1.4 billion through Budget 2023 in new initiatives aimed at helping prevent and reduce homelessness, including adding 3,900 new supportive homes to bring people off the streets and to prevent others from ending up there in the first place. With these housing and supports in place, CHWK will benefit from a more supportive and inclusive community that fosters greater safety and security for everyone. Homelessness is an ongoing issue in BC that undermines the physical and mental health and sense of belonging for those without a roof over their head. This announcement that we're making today is just one of the solutions we're working on to ensure that people are not in precarious and unsafe environments. There is still so much work ahead of us to provide people with supports and a safe place to live. And we will continue taking the action together so that people can stay housed and healthy here in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, MLA Tad. I want to invite CHWK Mayor Ken Papa to come.
Thanks, Scott, Kelly, Dan, Province. I guess April showers bring May flowers, but in this case, it's bringing 73 more beds for our folks that are living tough on the streets. It is a issue that has been in CHWK and in other communities in the Lower Mainland and throughout Canada. And with its partnership with the province, it's great to see the development of need here in CHWK. Myself and my council are big supporters of the Housing First strategy, where you put a roof over the folks' head and then you wrap around service for them. With that, I want to thank Ruth Lookout for their work here in CHWK. Lookout has now just taken over the Wellness Center. It's a strategy that we put together about a year ago, which it started off as day shelters, but it's turned into an overnight shelter. And I want to thank the province, BC Housing, for all their support to continue this good work that needs to be done here in CHWK. It's a growing community, and with that, the social issues go along with it. But we can, try and stay ahead of the game, we will end up with a great safety. So I thank everybody for being here, and let's get this stuff built. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to invite Chuck Huffmeyer, the CEO of Lookout, the Chairman of the Board of Lookout Housing and Health.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here. There's a real change in the demographic of homelessness. When I was young, compared to when I was young, today we're seeing single mothers with children sleeping in cars. We're seeing seniors are showing up at our shelters, knocking on the door. They've just lost their rent or they've been rent evicted. There is such a desperate need. I just want to, first of all, thank the City of CHWK. Some communities push back against facilities and initiatives like this. I really need to thank the City of CHWK for embracing this and working with us. Also, BC Housing and the Fraser Health Authority for providing the opportunity to provide these critical life-saving interventions. These investments in safety and wellness in the communities most vulnerable will see tremendous results. They will serve the community at a very large scale. Lookout is proud to be able to offer guest-centered services, programming, and connections to care alongside quality local community partners such as Ruth and Naomi's, Mission and Pacific Community Resources Society. Together we can strengthen the community wellness and maximize opportunities for change. We should also note the Stowe First Nation in CHWK and a lot of the First Nations at Lookout. 1/3 of our guests that access our shelters are First Nations, even though less than 5% of the province is First Nations. So we can't forget that. That's a very important statistic. finally, yesterday, 8 years since the public health emergency was declared by the province. 14,000 people have died since that emergency was declared. Today, 7 families' lives will change forever because 7 people will die from toxic drugs in British Columbia. Think about that. And what we do at Lookout, we run about a dozen overdose prevention sites. People don't die in overdose prevention sites. People need to come in out of the rain, out of this weather, and they need those services so that when they're ready to recover, we're there for them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chuck. I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Kathy McHale. She stayed at our shelter, Pathway Shelter, for 9 months, and then a year this June, she was able to move into the interchange here in supportive housing. And so she's going to tell us a little bit about her experience and some of the supports and benefits she's received. So Kathy, you want to come on up here?
Well, as like Paul said, I was at Ruth Naomi's for nearly 9 months in Pathways. I'm glad I'm here now. I'm grateful for the amount of help that I've had, and I appreciate everything. And this has now got me off the street and got me support that I need and the help that I need. And I'm very much grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Well, I want to echo the remarks that have already been made this morning. We are grateful to the City of CHWK, to the province, BC Housing, Fraser Health, for this investment, partnership, and action to address the housing needs of people in our city. And we recognize that these additional spaces represent more than just beds with roofs over them. They're spaces where human connection can take place, where an environment of kindness, care, respect for all people, and inclusion, we can recognize the inherent value of every single person and come alongside them in their journey if, as, and when they're ready to take steps forward. So I want to thank you all for being here. I want to turn it over to Marlene now for some questions from the media.